NASA called Shannon Lucid, a 51-year-old mom, and asked her if she wanted to fly to the Russian space station and spend almost a year. And she said yes. I'm Meredith Bagby, and I wrote The New Guys, which is the story of the first astronaut class to include women and people of color. Shannon Lucid was one of the first 6 women to be chosen by NASA. She was a PhD chemist who came from Oklahoma. She was somebody who, she wasn't gonna let anything stop her. As a teenager, she cleaned rooms and cleaned hotels and cleaned toilets basically, and earned enough money to pay for her own flying lessons and became a pilot. Shannon is one of those people who just always knew what she wanted to do and where she wanted to go, even though those were not places women were welcome. And one of those places was in the chemistry lab. And when she went for her first job, they didn't want to hire her. And the head of the lab basically said, I just want to know, because she already had one baby, I just want to know that you're not planning on getting pregnant again. She looked at him square in the eye and said, I am not planning on getting pregnant again. Meanwhile, she was already pregnant with her second daughter. In 1978, Shannon Lucid became the first mother ever accepted to the astronaut corps. She was the last of the women to fly. But in some ways, she made this incredible piece of history, which was to fly on Mir and to be the female who had spent the most time in space ever. 3 years after the Cold War was over, Hoot Gibson of NASA called Shannon Lucid, a 51-year-old mom, and asked her if she wanted to fly to the Russian space station and spend almost a year. And she said yes. She tried to speak Russian. When she would speak Russian to her comrades and to her colleagues, they would be like, what language are you speaking? Stop, please stop. There was going to be a moment when she was aboard that is called the Priority module, and it was going to dock with Mir. And that carried all of her experiments. These were the experiments that she would be doing over the course of her time there. The module lost some power. And because it lost some power, they suspected there might have been an electrical fire, which could also mean that the batteries that were powering Mir, that were inside of it, would be leaking sulfur dioxide. So when it finally did dock, her buddies on Mir, Yuri and Yuri, started putting on masks and gloves and talking very furiously in Russian. She sort of figured out what had happened, and they're like, it's gonna take 6 days to do this. And Shannon's like, no, it's not. Like, I'm gonna help. So she put her mask on and she put her gloves on and she started bagging up these batteries. And so they were able to shorten the time period for the cleanup from 6 days to 2 days. And after that, the Russians really respected her. They thought that she was gonna be a mess when she came down, and she said to herself, I will not be carried off on a stretcher. And so she worked out fiercely, like every day, to keep herself. And then she walked out and did a speech, which was like a Herculean task for her.